This is HANNOVER MESSE Daily, the heartbeat of innovation, industry and ideas. Each morning we bring you the key topics, the voices behind them and a first look at what the day at HANNOVER MESSE has in store. HANNOVER MESSE Daily, think tech forward.
Hello and welcome to HANNOVER MESSE Daily. We are your hosts Kati Günther
and Christian Buchholz.
On the center stage at HANNOVER MESSE, the two big themes of the day are next-gen energy and humanoid robots. To help us explore what they mean for the fair and for industry, we are joined by Hubertus von Monschaw, Global Director HANNOVER MESSE. Hello Hubertus, great to have you on the show today.
Hi Kati, it's a pleasure for me to be with you.
So today's center stage spotlights two economy-shaping topics with next-gen energy and humanoid robots. Energy prices are surging in Europe and all over the world, fueling a massive transition. And humanoid robots are considered to be the next industrial revolution, promising explosive growth, with Goldman Sachs, for example, forecasting a $38 billion market by 2035. So, Hubertus, how is HANNOVER MESSE helping companies turn these challenges into opportunities?
Well, both topics are pretty much essential for competitiveness, and this on the visitor and exhibitor side. So pretty much energy as a source for manufacturing is one essential thing for all manufacturing companies. And due to the fact that energy prices within Europe are at a point where we do have to consider how to make them more competitive. This is one topic that is major important. And the other thing is that humanoid robots have a huge potential for the shop floor to revolutionize the manufacturing process, because we are actually opening up the next chapter. And so therefore, on the one hand, both topics have a huge potential for companies that offer solutions, gives them the opportunity to innovate their manufacturing system.
So maybe let's take a closer look at humanoid robots first. Have they gained significantly more traction for practical industrial applications at HANNOVER MESSE this year compared to previous editions? And if so, what is driving that shift?
Well, from my point of view, there is a real big shift. Humanoid robots or robots are now changing. When we're looking at Atlas from Boston Dynamics, for example, 10 years ago, we actually found something that was still in a research chapter, but nowadays, as we have already learned, Hyundai is actually producing 30,000 units of Atlas and has totally changed. Why is that? Because now AI systems and physical AI is entering the game, and there is an interaction between machines and the outer world. And that is actually having a huge leverage potential, and that we will see and experience within HANNOVER MESSE this year. And this is something that from my point of view is really, really exciting.
Okay, so maybe you could take us onto the exhibition floors for a bit. What is on display in humanoid robotics? Cutting edge demos, prototypes, or standard exhibitor innovations? What can we see?
Okay, well, there are pretty much all over the place really exciting things regarding humanoid robots. I'm just going to take some examples, and I would always recommend the visitors of HANNOVER MESSE to actually look up on the website and also on the app to find the holistic view on what's in it. But for me, one key exhibit to visit is, for example, Agile Robots. There you can experience Agile 1 on a catwalk, and it's designed as a show, but of course, you can actually learn more than that. And another company that is displaying on humanoids is Schaeffler. They are within Hall 13, and they will present a transparent humanoid synchronized robot with a digital hologram, and it's showcasing how they integrate linear and rotary actuators, which actually make half the components of a humanoid robot. Capgemini, for example, in Hall 15, they will demonstrate a humanoid robot operating within an internal logistic chain, autonomously replenishing materials in a production cell. And with the Karlsruhe Institute of Technologies, they will showcase almost 7, and they are actually positioned in Hall number 11. Further, you have the application part within Hall 26, and there you pretty much have a holistic view on all kinds of companies offering humanoid robots and different stages on development. And also you get more key insights on the physical AI interaction that is actually taking place.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. So now let's go to the other topic of the day at the center stage, the next-gen energy. Why is rethinking energy systems so urgent for industries today, especially with the rising costs in Europe and basically all over the world? How is this reflected in the center stages program of today?
The rethinking has several aspects. First of all, is as I said, competitiveness, of course, which is a major factor for growth. The second is sustainability, because we all know we have limited resources. We have to see how to handle that. And on the other hand, it's about competing with other economic systems within the world, and to level that out. And collaboration is one part which is essential in order to secure energy system that is competitive. And for example, our partner country, Brazil, is a perfect example of a partner which is reliable. And the Mercosur trade agreement is something that I'm pretty sure will be very beneficial for the further development. And of course, we want to reflect that. And that's why we have a focal point today on the center stage on next-gen energy.
And of course, there are plenty of interesting events as well. Hubertus, what are the top must-see highlights at the fair for visitors? What can't they miss today?
That's a good and tough question, because there's so much to experience. For myself, I'd most definitely recommend the sessions on humanoid robots and energy, of course, within the center stage. Further, we have, which is probably a little bit more an insider, we have the procurement day, which is taking place within the convention center. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, which we are actually organizing together with the Bundesverband Materialwirtschaft. So that is one of my personal highlights. Further, we have the Enterprise Research Planning Lounge, which is taking place at noon. So this is something you could and should attend if you're focused on this enterprise resource planning and software. This is taking place within the Automation Digitalization Lounge within Hall 26. And last but not least, if we're looking at innovation, which is the key topic of Hannover Messe, I would recommend to go to the Innovation World Cup, which is taking place within Hall number 11. And it's pretty much the grand pitch final of startups and around IoT and deep tech innovations. And they're gonna be the top 15 finalists in tech entrepreneurs. And therefore, yeah, you should probably go there and look at the final pitches. This is something that's also going to be very, very exciting.
Thanks a lot, Hubertus. And now we will dive deeper into next gen energy with our next guest.
Today we are happy to welcome Marco Stefanini. He's the founder and global CEO of the Stefanini Group, a global tech consulting company that leads in the use of artificial intelligence and co-creates tailored solutions to help clients advance their digital journeys, combining a global presence with deep technical expertise and a comprehensive service portfolio. Hello, Marco. Great to have you on the show today.
Hello, Christian. Thank you for the invitation. For me, it's a pleasure to talk with you today.
Thank you. So, Marco, energy costs have become a major concern, especially for industrial companies in Europe and Germany. From your perspective, how serious is the challenge for global competitiveness?
I think that this is one of the most critical challenges facing global industry today. Yes, energy is no longer just as an operational cost. It has become I cannot say a direct factor of competitiveness, predictability, and resilience. And in capital energy intensive sectors, even a small cost fluctuation can determine whether if your operation is viable or not. Okay, this is the situation even more complex in volatility in terms of geopolitical tensions. That's all the time. Yes, there are a lot of regulatory also change made in Europe, supply chain stability, and many others. In this context, sorry, compete is not longer just about producing more, but about producing better with a great efficiency and control. This is exactly the approach that we are bringing to our strategic partner customers. That is maybe our main role about Stephanie. How to bring more efficient and control in terms of energy.
Yeah, companies have to transform their energy systems. Can you share a concrete example of how AI is improving efficiency or resilience in industrial operations?
Today, energy efficiency is fundamentally a data and AI challenge, not only engineering one as in the past. Yes, AI enables companies to identify previously invisible patterns in energy consumption to correlating energy use and with production levels, process variability, and also operational conditions. Okay. This is in our strategic partnership journeys. We use AI based as a statistic model to predict the consumption peaks in a prescriptive way. Yes, adjust parameters in real time, reduce energy waste that previously went unnoticed. Okay, that's for example, we in terms of a large steel manufacturing case or even mining, that is the more heavy industry, that we can achieve reductions between 4 and 12% in terms of natural gas consumption, for example.
Marco, let's talk about operational technology. Many factories still run on legacy systems that were never designed for today's level of connectivity. Why is the modernization of operational technology so urgent now?
We already talked about the context has changed radically. Yes, and legacy systems were not were designed more for stability, not for adaptation. This is a big change. Yes, and today factors needed to make real-time decisions, integrate data for multiple sources, and respond quickly to changing costs, energy, and demands. Okay, without modernized OT asset, is almost impossible to capture this value of AI and automation in general. Okay, and is almost also difficult to advance in energy efficient sustainability. Okay, we understand that today it's so important to integrate systems and integrate data. And of course, we need at least to modernize OT but we can do gradually.
So, as you said, a key challenge is integrating modern AI solutions with existing legacy systems. How can companies approach this without disrupting production?
This is a good question, yes, because you know that, of course, we have to be careful always with the disrupting production, and of course, we don't want this. That is what we understand, that we needed to do this path transformation. We can do in layers, yes. Instead of replace everything, companies needed to connect, simplify, and modernize in layers. That is so important. For example, we can first introduce in as a decision support. Then we can talk about, and we can see about, we can evaluate as a process optimizer. And finally, that's the late stage, going to autonomous agents in a critical point. That's again, we can focus in a very important process, but we can do gradually in layer.
If we look ahead, what does a truly smart factory look like when AI and energy management are fully integrated?
Okay, is a good question, because I remember that 15 years ago, when we are talking about transformation, digital transformation, the people love is to have a wonderful, beautiful office with some a lot of activities, but in the end, they didn't change their business process. Yes, how to for example build software. Here is the same, that smart manufacturing is not one that filled with screens, that sensors, but one that makes better decisions. And to have this better decision, that is so important. Data are fully integrated. This is, I think, that we are much more focused in data. Then, of course, if and most of the factories, they already have a good stage of data. Then we can try to use better the data they already have. This is more or less, that's our approach. Of course, sometimes we needed to invest in some sensors, in some more equipment, but in general, we try to leverage the data they already have. Okay, the idea is here is predicting failures, optimize consumption, increase productivity, and of course reducing energy consumption.
For companies just starting this journey, what's the one first step they should take?
This is it's very important. That's clarity of intent. That you needed to focus what is your real problem to solve, or the real opportunity to be more efficient, or sometimes even some new product that you can produce. This is the fundamental question. And this comes from the leadership level. Then we love to have opportunity to discuss with the leadership to understand the main goals of the company. Then if you understand this, we can focus what really important. This is because, and of course we can do gradually. As I said, we can do by layers. We can do as a MVP or POC, but in an important topic. Of course, when we have we are successful in this POC, then we can leverage, we can roll out for the company, and of course bring a very high level of return on investment. This is what we understand, that we start small in something very important, and then scale up when we are successful. Or maybe it's, I want to emphasize that AI is a means, not an end. This is, I think, is important, because sometimes the leadership, that how we can use AI, how we can, what's the technology that I have to use, but this is not the main focus. The main focus is what is the business problem or the business opportunity. Then later we can choose what is the best technology that we can use to help that.
From your perspective, Marco, what is the one thing visitors at the Hannover Messe should definitely see or pay attention to this year?
My opinion, I will give, because I'm from technology, that clearly my main message for the global attendees, but also mainly maybe for Germany, that pay attention in opportunities and threats about AI and automation. That is not a technology challenge, is a business challenge. And then is so important that the leadership change their mindset to change their process, to change their business model, and then of course you use AI to do it. This is I think the main message. You know that's German is a very high level of quality manufacturing sector, but now the game is changing. In my opinion, that is so important. The German leadership, manufacturing side, they adapt their mindsets.
And you will teach them how to do it on your fireside chat at the center stage, isn't it?
We are trying to do our best, yes. Not teach, but exchange experience, exchange information. We are in the times that is no certainty. Yes, that is so important to be curious, to listen to people, to see different perspectives. That's I'm one of this. Yes, of them, these people.
So we are looking forward to that. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
If you want to hear more from Marco Stefanini on AI-driven industrial competitiveness, head over to the center stage in Hall 25 today at 10:10.
All right, that means it's time again for our number of the day. Hubertus, what number did you bring us today?
Number of the day for Wednesday, a total of 7,000 products and innovations are being displayed, along with 700 research projects within Hannover Messe 2026. And that's the number of the day.
Really impressive. So thank you very much, Hubertus, for being on the show today.
Thank you, Kati.
This concludes today's Hannover Messe Daily. A big thank you to Hubertus von Monschaw and Marco Stefanini for joining us and sharing their perspectives. We wish you a dynamic and inspiring day and hope you will tune in again tomorrow morning for more voices and highlights from Hannover Messe.